Hey everyone, it's Dane again. Okay, so looking at our circuit board here for our SNES multi-out, we want to have our big piece over here on the left, and our RGB lines are going to be in this corner, and it goes RGB C-Sync. And if you want to check that out, you just need to go to LaserBear's website where you can buy these, and he has that listed there. So let's go ahead and get this hooked up. Alright, so red is going to be first. And making a mess here, I need to hook up my helping hands. No big deal. Alright, let's get this hooked up. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what happens when you actually spend the time to set it up nice. Okay, so there is our red wire. Green is next, which in this case is a white line. There's green. So red, green, blue, C-Sync. Double checking just to make sure. Yeah, red, green, blue, C-Sync. That's right. Clockwise. So blue is next. Sometimes it can be kind of tricky to get all this stuff on camera the way you want. There we go. There is our blue line. Red, green, blue, and this will be our C-Sync line. There we go. Red, green, blue, C-Sync, all hooked up. Looking good. Alright, next up we're going to hook up a ground line, and for that one, we're going to use white, a little long there, so we'll trim that up. Alright, there's our ground line. And yeah, I need to make sure that I actually run 5 volts for this too, so I think I will go ahead and that up. And hopefully I won't totally unhook my other 5 volt line, but that's no big deal. In fact, actually, here's how we do that. I'll just go ahead and unhook that first. There we go. Move that out of the way. Hook up our new 5 volt line for our multi-out, like so. Alright, and then we're going to create a new point right here. And that is where we are going to tap our 5 volt for our IGR board. No problem to switch things up a little bit. There we go. Alright, so I like to kind of think of 5 volt and ground as kind of one line together. So I'm going to go ahead and heat shrink those guys. But I'm going to do it a little bit further out because I want to make sure that it doesn't kind of mess with my S-video lines. So this one we will do black. Actually, I might do blue for this because I think I can fit 2 wires in blue. Let's see. Oh yeah, that will work great. Yep, and that's all the further up I want to go with that because I want to make sure I have tons of room for my S-video line. Alright, so there is our power and ground. Turn those real quick. Okay, so ground is next, and that is going to be our white line. We're going to run that right into there, although it looks like maybe our conductor is a little too big, so I need to trim that up. Alright, there is our ground line. Very good. Alright, so next, while we're here, we might as well run that 5 volt. And a 5 volt is, get in, look closer here. Alright, so it looks like that is second from the right on the top row. Which means that's going to hook in right there. You know, I am a little concerned about that making it difficult to get to other things, so I am just going to leave that for now. That's okay, we'll go ahead and hook up our S-video lines next. So I usually do that with yellow and blue, which we have set here as Y and C. Oh, we do need to hook up our composite video line as well. And that is also one that I usually do in blue. So let's just go ahead and hook that one up next. And that one will be a line by itself. So we won't be bundling it. Alright, it's in that. Alright, so this is our video line, our composite video line. And that one is, okay, so bottom row, second from the right. So basically that's going to hook in right there. Sorry, I got a little bit of a jumble on the wire there. No problem, I'm not going to actually even hook that up yet, just to keep things easy for myself. Let's go ahead and get those. We'll do yellow and red for S-video lines. Alright, there's red, get that 10. Alright, so this is going to be red and yellow. Red will be Y. Oh, you know what? We'll do yellow as Y. Because, you know, they start with the same letter. Help me keep track. Alright, there's our Y, and here is C. There we go. Alright, and we're definitely going to bundle S-video together. Yeah, we'll do black tubing for S-video. It's definitely a little bit of extra work to bundle it together like this, but I think it just really helps with the organization. Definitely keeps it easier to keep track of what the heck it is you're doing down at the multi-out end. Plus, it just kind of looks nice. I have no problem with that. There is our S-video line. Alright, Y and C. Okay, our S-video is now ready to hook up. So Y is going to be next to ground on the bottom and C is above. So Y is going to go right there. Okay, there is our Y. Next up is C, right above. And there's C. Okay, so now RGB, ground, and S-video is hooked up. Let's go ahead and hook up our video, which is this blue line here. And then 5 volts will go above that. Alright, so video is right there. Oh, darn it. Yeah, it wants to pop out. There we go, there is our video line. Alright, composite video is hooked up. Making progress. Alright, so 5 volts goes right above that, and then it'll be our audio. Alright, there's 5 volts. And now lastly, we're going to have our mono audio out because this does not have a stereo audio mod. So for that one, pretty much just hook that up and bridge it. At least that's the plan. Okay, so we do need to run our audio line. So we will do that white. And this is the last one. And we will be ready to test it out, which I'm pretty stoked about. Alright, first thing is 10-hour wire. There we go. Trim this a little bit off the end of that. Flux, 10. Alright, there's our mono audio. Okay, let's hook up our audio. So that goes in the last position, all the way to the right, really closest to the top right there, closest to the camera. There we go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is actually try to bridge that connection. There we go. Reason being is that's mono audio. We want it to go to both our left and our right speakers. So we need to make sure that that is actually hooked up to both bridges, or excuse me, both inputs. So you can see that I bridged the mono audio on there. So we are all hooked up. Our SNES multi-out is ready to go. Wish it was easier to sort of just bundle all these together once I was done, but that's okay. Generally, I actually don't think that looks too bad since we have, our separate strands bundled together. So let's go ahead and clean up our work. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm stoked. So the next thing I'm gonna do here is get this put back in its case and we will check it out, see if it works. All right, let's get this button back up. So let's put our board back in. Be sure to make sure that my wire runs correspond with holes in the aluminum, or in the RF shielding, I should say anyway. All right, so that is perfect. And I'm not actually gonna worry about, well, let's see. You know what, before I do the bottom here, I need to actually get the multi-out hooked in properly. So let's do that. So here's our multi-out board. Let's just go ahead and screw this back together right now. So it should go together like this. Here we are. Okay, so it's kind of tricky since it's in two pieces. You have to kind of slide that in, hold it all together with your fingers, and then try to put that screw into place. Maybe I can start the screw first without worrying about the bottom yet. Okay, there we go. It's not quite fitting together the way I'm expecting. Oh, that's why. Had it in there upside down. Okay. Well, that could have something to do with it. That would be why it was not going together. Alright, there we go. You know what, now that I'm looking at that, of course after I got it put together, I'm forgetting one thing. There is a pin I want to bridge the ground to both of those positions. Not 100% sure that I have to do it, but I'm going to, and hopefully my wire does it. I just want to make sure that both of my ground pins are hooked up. Okay, well, I kind of botched a couple things there. I think that's all good to go. I took care of all those bridges. Let's try this again. That'll do. So I was just bridging my two ground pins to make sure that all of my points were hooked up on there. Rather do it now than after I get the whole thing put back together, so no sweat. Okay, so a multi-out is in place. Looks like there's a little more room on top than on bottom. Let's see if I need to adjust this a little bit. Well, I'm going to just close that up and we'll see if it's an issue once we try to hook it up. Okay, so it's going to slide and screw in there just like that. So we want these two long screws here. Well, heck, now I'm trying to remember if I came at that from the top or the bottom first. I have to go look. Okay, turns out that I can't use the exact same screws that it came with, so I've got a couple other ones that should work just fine for this. Alright, I'm hoping I can get one started up there in that corner. It's kind of tricky because the whole thing wants to pop off because of all the pressure from those wires. I think that's starting to bite finally. Darn, this is tricky, actually. Not sure why that's having such a hard time. You know what? It almost looks like we need to up our contacts here and push the whole thing to the right just a little bit. I can't make both of those molten right at the same time. Darn it, kind of got cockeyed in there. Alright, let's see if that's lined up any better. A little bit, not 100% though. There we go. That's how you do it. Of course I did it, and my jack is still kind of screwy on me. It's kind of tricky to get the jack and the screw holes all lined up exactly right. But that did do it. Alright, awesome. Let's try this again. There we go, we're biting. Now we're doing it. Now we're all screwed in there. Perfect. It's interesting with the multi-out here, trying to figure out how to get it to have enough room. There we go, I think that's okay. Alright, so that is hooked up. Now we do need to hook our heatsink back up. We'll need to make sure that there's room for our RGB lines there. I guess they can just pop right out the back, actually. Okay, cool. It's always good to make sure the heatsink is on when you're testing. It's okay if you test, for a minute, do a power check or whatever, but if you're actually going to be like playing for a bit, you want to make sure your heatsink is back on there. Not really going to worry about securing the rest of that down at the moment. All right, there we go. Make sure our wires are set down in. Same thing on this side. Okay, let's see if that closes up. There's something fighting with it already. Let's see, here might just be these. No, I think it's our wires here. We might have to route those kind of around the side. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. Alright, so all these wires here are basically just getting caught up. Sometimes this is like the tricky part, trying to figure out how to get everything where it needs to go and get it all to fit. I did not have that lined up. Alright, And actually, I am going to put in a couple of the other screws here just because I'm a little concerned about wires putting pressure on the 7805. I don't actually think it's going to hurt anything, but I'd just rather make sure everything's good and secure. All right, there we go. Our heatsink is now totally secured. Now let's see if we can get all this stuff to sit down in there like it's supposed to. I have this in here backwards. I think I've got it in there backwards. Oh, I think it's just the wires. Wires here. Just had some wires in the way. And more back here too. I'm starting to get the hang of how this thing goes together now. Alright. So some of these guys, I'm just going to have to kind of try to push them up. Yeah, I think really my issue here is just I made my wire runs a tad too long. So in reality, I might actually not have needed to run these wires sort of the way I did, up and out the side. Still think it was probably prudent, but all right, there we go. There's our port. We're all put back together. So the next thing to do is to check our signal. Quick note, I think I totally was wrong about the way this went in before. For some reason, it seemed like it could only go in one way. But something felt weird about it, you know, having all the connectors on the bottom side of this thing. So as it turns out, it totally fits in there with the connectors facing up. So now I think we're good to button this up and try it. Okay, moment of truth time. Let's see what we get. I'm not seeing anything. All right, so as you can see, I've been busy. Took me a minute to figure out what was going on with this unit. I even tried some different things. I rerouted my power line from the 5-volt here over to another position where you could grab it here, hoping maybe that was the issue. It wasn't. Dug around, I actually pulled the board and got looking up, you know, under all those layers. And really good lesson here when you're working on something like this. I'm used to drag soldering, but I was just going too fast and I had a bridge and I didn't see it when I was working on it, and that was causing the issue, so I wouldn't power on. Well, there was that, and also the fact that I had missed the J3 jumper to power the darn RGB board, so it was never going to fire up anyway. So I just got ahead of myself on this one, and so this was a good lesson for me. Slow the hell down, double check your work, make sure you're hitting every one of your steps. The funny thing is, I've done a bunch of these. I know that I have to, you know, hit that power jumper, but I just missed it. So bridged the jumper, cleared the bridges in areas that weren't supposed to be there, and this is what I got. It's working. All right, finally, man, this one fought me, but persevered, right? So let's check out our features. On your controller, basically all of your commands are done. And there's just kind of a handful. Basically, you can reset the thing. There's like a long reset and a short reset, which is useful for when you're using a ROM cartridge, and then you can switch to your palette. So let's see how we do this. Go ahead and start our game. Also, we can hear that our expansion audio is working.
Bort? Oh, come on, Bort?
Mommy, buy me a license plate!
No, come along, Bort.
Are you talking to me?
No, my son is also named Bort.
Man, I love this game. Okay, so let's check out our palettes first. So to activate anything on here, you have to hold down start and select at the same time, which is actually kind of tricky. In general, I just kind of like to hold my thumb over both. And then if you hit right, you will cycle through the different palettes. Or if you hit left, you will cycle back through previous palettes. So that's pretty cool. No knob, you know, you just use your controller inputs, which is pretty cool. And if you need to reset the thing, you hold down start and select and A and B and it resets it. Kind of cool. So that was our Toploader NESRGB with Boardy's IO board. This one was a challenge, but you know what? It goes that way sometimes. But I tell you, it's also one of the best feelings when you finally get to the other side of a project that you struggle with, and you get through it, and then you prove to yourself, like, hey, I can do this. You know, this was a brand new thing for me. It was almost kind of like doing my first NESRGB. Lots of, I just learned a lot of things on this. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up because it's practically the middle of the darn night and I need to go get some rest. But if you had fun hanging out with me and learning alongside me and, hopefully learning from all the mistakes I made on this one, I appreciate a like and a subscribe and all that stuff. If you have any questions about anything I did in here, or just anything else retro game related, modding related, any of that stuff, of course, I always, am happy to talk with you in the chat. Love to hear from you. So anyway, yeah, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, and we'll catch you next time for another NES related project. The next one's actually going to be Famicom related, so that should be fun. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.